170 years ago, one of the first companies in the Chicago Fire Department was called the Hope Company. Today, the Chicago Fire Department still stands for hope. Chicago is sending more than hope to Puerto Rico. We've also sent other additional resources, both as a city, but also coordination between the Congressman, myself, and United Airlines, and others who are standing ready to help their own family and those loved ones. We're sending medical and communications equipment. We're sending trained professionals, and we're sending needed supplies. Since Hurricane Maria struck, Chicago's come together to pitch in. We've been delivering food, water, clothes, and other supplies to the island. We're working with the Red Cross and the Salvation Army to support the needs of evacuees coming from the island. Here I would like to add a point. While a lot of it is talked about what we're going to be sending, we had a meeting to discuss how we're going to also receive and help people resettle. I think you're witnessing what 12 years ago, Hurricane Katrina, what I would call the first kind of massive climate change resettlement. This is another case of a climate change resettlement that we now as a country and we as a city have to be prepared for that. So while this is about, and first and foremost was about sending the resources and hearing firsthand from Congressman Gutierrez of kind of this, getting a feel for the scene of what's happening on the island. We then also turned to a meeting where I'm asking Alicia Tate to help coordinate from the public effort. Congressman and I talked about this last week, and I reached out already late last week to the Cardinal, but to coordinate what I would call a response of resettlement for an effect of a climate change event. And it's to help people both on housing, schools, healthcare, and the whole sense of resettlement. We saw it years ago when Houston absorbed people from New Orleans. We as a city have to be set up to do that as it relates to what's happened here in Puerto Rico. And so the first part of the meeting was to hear from the Congressman what he saw firsthand, then about the resources, and then ultimately to get our legs under us and organize the structure to help and be a city that receives a resettlement, because this is not going to be a 1 week, 1 month, or even a 1 year effort. It's going to take a sustained effort for all of us to help coordinate and help people see both them individually and their families through something that has really upended not just the island, but the people that make up the island of Puerto Rico.
So I asked the mayor last week to do a couple of things. Number one, to help us get resources as quickly as possible to the victims of the hurricane. We've done that for a whole week. I believe the first supplies to actually reach the people of Puerto Rico came from Chicago, and that was last Monday. It was actually there, and that afternoon, last Monday afternoon, people were drinking the water we sent. Babies were drinking the formula. Senior citizens were having the Ensure that we sent. And eating the food that we sent. So I'm very, very proud of that. And then the mayor and I, we talked about the city of Chicago being a welcoming city for those who are going to be part of what I believe in the end is going to be a huge resettlement.
Remember, there's not going to be a church, there's not going to be a school, there's not going to be a healthcare facility, there's not going to be public or private housing, that we are not going to turnkey this city over to make sure that you have a resettlement effort. People have family, they are welcomed here in Chicago, and it says volumes that this is how we stand up and we are what I meant to say, which is we are a sanctuary city. And there's thousands of people here in Chicago who have family and loved ones, and they want to bring them, they're going to know we're here. In the same way that when Luis first approached the idea with me, I think it was Wednesday or Thursday, I immediately called the Cardinal. We did this in the past when the kids from Central America were caught on the border. The city and the Catholic Church came together to help those children resettle. 1,000. And we're going to do that here. It speaks volumes of who we are, what we are, and how we work together. What the federal government did in the last 6 days, I think you know the conclusion, is inadequate. And I'm being gentle in my criticism of it. Totally inadequate on a human level, totally inadequate that somehow these are not citizens of the United States of America. So, that said, I can either take my energy and criticize them for their inadequacy, or take my energy and time and focus on getting ourselves organized so people know that if they have loved ones, they can bring them, the kids can get in school, they can get the health care they need, they can get an apartment they need, or housing they need, and a roof over their head. And again, I want to say, as many tomorrows as it takes. Nothing?